Hi, thanks for joining us today. Welcome or welcome back to Then We Eat. On this week's episode, we'll be making chocolate candy cane rings. So the first thing we want to do is we want to work on our dry ingredients. Into our sieve, we're going to add 1.5 cups of flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa. And we'll give that a sieve. So what you're looking to do is incorporate all of your flour and your cocoa together, but you're also looking to get some air in there. And the other thing it's going to do is any of the chunks you can break down into smaller pieces. So you shouldn't have any lumps left. And there you go. Now we're going to set that aside while we work on the rest of our chocolate mixture. So the next thing we need to do is we need to chop up 6 ounces of unsweetened chocolate. I'm using the little baker square. If you have 6 ounces that you've got from the bulk barn or from wherever, use what you have. Just make sure that it's chopped up. Watch your fingers. So there's our 6 ounces of chocolate chopped. I'm going to set this aside because the next thing we need to do is we need to melt it in a pot. So we're going to turn the induction on. I've got it starting at 300, which is the lowest it'll go. If I find that it's not melting, I'll turn it up to 500, which would be about medium low. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our chocolate. And to my chocolate, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of butter. Okay, it's a little cold in here today. This was melted butter. And when you're melting your chocolate, make sure to do it at a very low heat because chocolate can burn very quickly. And if it burns or if it separates, it's hard to fix. It can be done, but it's very hard to fix. So just keep stirring the chocolate and making sure that your butter gets in there and melts as well. All right, so I've just turned my heat up to 500. If it starts to melt a little too quickly, I'm going to turn it back down to 3. And of course, the finer the chop you did on your chocolate, the quicker it will melt. Okay, so our chocolate is melted. I'm just going to turn it down just a little tiny bit more. Actually, I'm going to take it off the heat for just a second. And we're going to turn off the induction now. To my melted chocolate, I'm going to add 1 cup of white sugar. You'll see that it's got grainy-ish. You can see the sugar in here. Don't worry about that. Okay, so our chocolate mixture is done. I'm just going to transfer it to a large bowl and we're going to let it cool for about 10 minutes. Next thing we want to do is we want to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so our mixture is cool. Now it's time for the next step. And 2 eggs. And we'll mix that in. And the last step is to add our dry ingredients. So in goes our flour cocoa mixture. And we'll give that a mix. Okay, so after flinging some of it around the kitchen, I did manage to get it all mixed in. So this is what it should look like. Okay, so when you're done, it should be very heavy and thick. But if you gave it a squeeze, it would hold its shape. Or about that texture. So you can see that it holds its shape. It's not sticky. It's not too dry. Now let's move on to the next step. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide the dough approximately in half. And you're going to roll half of it out between 2 pieces of wax paper. So we're going to roll this out. We're looking to have it about 3/16 of an inch, just a little under 1/4. Just keep moving it around. So we've got our dough rolled out. We're going to take 1 piece of the wax paper off. This is about a 2-inch wide circle. So these are going to be the outsides of my cookies. So I'm just going to start cutting some cookies up. You want to make sure that you cut them as close to the edge and as close to each other as you can so you're not wasting any of the dough. Okay, so I ended up getting 25 cookies. I needed an even amount. That's all right. Hopefully I can catch it on the next sheet. So the next thing we want to do is we want to cut a little tiny hole in the middle of half of them. Because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to stack the 2 cookies on top and the candy cane is going to go in the middle. So you only want to do half the cookies with the hole in it. So we're going to slide the wax paper back on top and we're going to slide this onto our cookie sheet and we're going to put it in the fridge. And we're going to leave it in the fridge overnight and we'll be back tomorrow to bake the cookies. So we'll see you then. And welcome back. The cookies have been in the fridge overnight, so today we're going to bake them. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to crush up some candy canes. I'm using 4 candy canes that are this size. I've got one that's already broken. I broke getting it out of the plastic. But we're going to start with 4 candy canes this size. We're going to crush them up, and if we need more, we'll just crush up some more. So the easiest way to do this is get a Ziploc bag, put your candy canes in the Ziploc bag. Make sure you close it. And I have a nice meat tenderizer that I'm going to use to crush my candy canes. Now you don't want them too fine. You don't want it really fine powdered dust, but you don't want huge chunks either. Make sure you don't get your fingers in the way. So that looks like it's about the right size. So that's about what you're looking for. You can see I have a little bit of dust. I'll use the dust, but I've got some bigger pieces in there as well. And the next thing we want to do is we want to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And then it's time to pull the cookies from the fridge. So here's the first tray we did. I'm just going to slip it off the cookie sheet. And we're going to peel the wax paper off the top. I'm going to loosely put the wax paper back on top and I'm going to flip it over. And we'll peel the wax paper off the bottom. And now your cookies haven't stuck to the bottom of the pan. So what you want to do is you want to pull out all your rounds, pop out the holes that you did for the middle, and you're just going to set them aside for now. So there's our first pan done. You don't want to throw away all of your discarded pieces. What you want to do is you want to scoop them up into a ball, get it all nice and together, and then you can put it in the fridge, chill it overnight, and you can roll it out and make more cookies. So the next thing we need to do is prepare our pans. So we're going to put a piece of parchment paper down on the pans, and then we're going to be able to start building our cookies. So now it's time to start building our cookies. So you're going to take the flat bottom, put it on your pan, and you're going to leave about 1 inch to 2 inches apart. So I'm only going to be able to get 3 across. And you want to just keep doing that until all your pan is full. So I've got 15 cookies on my tray. The next thing we want to do is we want to put the tops on. The tops are the one that you cut the hole out of. So just stick that on top. Okay, so each of our cookies has a lid on it. Now we're going to sprinkle some of that candy cane that we broke up, and it's going to go into the middle where the cutout is. You don't want to overfill it. You just want to make sure that there's some in each one. Okay, so that looks good. So now we're going to put them in the oven and we're going to let them cook for about 8 minutes. You might want to check them, make sure they're not cooking a little too much. You want the candy cane to bubble. You don't want it to burn. So I'm going to finish doing the rest of the cookies off camera. We'll let these cook and we'll be back when these have cooled. See you shortly. Well, the timer is gone. Let's get them out of the oven. And there they are. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put them on a wire rack to cool. And we'll try one of these. Very good. The nice thing about these cookies, they're not overly sweet because you've used the unsweetened chocolate in them. They're not overly sweet. They're very good, and you get a nice flavor from the candy cane, gives it a nice minty flavor. These are definitely a perfect Christmas holiday cookie to make. You should try making them. So that pretty much does it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, let you know when we upload a new video, and comment down below, what did you think of this video? Or better yet, what would you like to see us make next? Oh, and don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Season's greetings.